It's time for No Pad Sports Talk. Stay tuned as two brothers bring you the latest from your Michigan teams and beyond in hockey, baseball, football, and more. Let's get started. Here are your hosts, JD and Steve.
Welcome to another edition of No Pad Sports Talk. I am one of your hosts, JD.
And I'm Steve, and I'm not smiling.
I think we're both caught by a surprise. So
I am a little disappointed. Not just in I'm like 30 seconds here. I'm really disappointed in the Michigan football game. While we won that game, we did not play very well. J.J. McCarthy had 3 interceptions, so I figured that was a kind of, we'll lead that into our Lions, but just not happy with that. We were super excited about the Detroit Lions. You'll have to forgive me if you hear it in my voice. I was yelling very loudly at the Michigan football game. And then as I was watching the Lions game today, I was yelling very loudly as well. So let's, I guess we can just kind of, what was the good? Let's talk about the good. I like talking about the good, I guess.
Offense. That's the good. I mean, of course, Goff had an interception, but it's going to happen. Yep. It was a bad pass, too. He had the guy open. It was a good read, just bad pass. Yeah. But overall, Goff did good. I thought, however, that the two bright spots, because, we kind of expect Goff to do Goff things, and that's going to be kind of expected overall, was Goff to be accurate, and he was, except for that one pass, which obviously hurt really bad. However, the two main things that I thought was really good was David Montgomery. The dude was running lights out up until the injury. And then Laporta. He was a good safety blanket. And he kept some drives going. The guy, like I said last week, he's a lot faster with the balls, with the ball in his hand than what I had initially thought. And and he's strong. I mean, of course, he missed some blocks today, but right there, there's a two good. That's all I can come up with, honestly. That's it for me.
Do you remember how many yards I said Laporta was going to get? He didn't get the touchdown.
Said like 65, I thought. Was your initial guess before he started playing around.
Right. He had 63. So that was a good thing. St. Brown was very quiet today, 102 yards. Like all in all, quiet. I know he was hurt a little bit during the game.
Well, 40 of it came on a play that didn't matter, right? At the end of the first half. So, I mean, whatever. I mean, it was a great, don't get me wrong, that was a perfect pass and a great catch, right? Like, that was beautiful all over. I mean, wow. But in the end, it just didn't matter. Yeah. Like, whatever.
Yeah. I mean, the bad side on that is that he did have a fumble.
Amon-Ra St. Brown?
It says fumble lost on the stats.
Oh, no, that was at the end of the first half, though, when he caught the ball down the sideline with that. And then, again, that fumble didn't matter.
Okay. David Montgomery. So I just saw an article on that. He could be out several weeks.
That's what I was afraid of.
With a thigh bruise. Now, it wasn't... fortunately, it wasn't like a, structural in that it was a joint, like the knee, the hip, because I was really worried about his hip, the way
I was too.
So fortunately it says it was just a thigh, which is good, but the bad on that side is that now we are down to David Montgomery, who has been a significant part of our offense when it comes to the running game, right? He's been the guy who's gotten our tough yardage. So, is this, Jahmyr Gibbs time now, right? Because I think the offense has to change a little bit, right? I think you can't run the same kind of stuff that you ran with David Montgomery. I mean, I don't think you can. You might be able to, but I think they're gonna have to, adjust that a little bit for Jahmyr Gibbs so that he's out there, comfortable in the place that he's, being successful at.
Look, I don't know how much I want to break down this game because it was ugly, but
yeah,
one thing I hated was they're always running Jahmyr Gibbs outside. I mean, I don't know. That was not what I wanted to see. They had a lot of success running up the middle. I'd like for them to have, continued, doing that with Jahmyr Gibbs. I don't think, Jahmyr Gibbs is quick, but I've seen the guy lower his shoulder. Like, the guy does not avoid contact, So I think I 100% believe he can run between the tackles. He's not going to be the power runner, but he'll run between the tackles. And that's where your strength, was between the tackles. And I think they should have continued doing it that way. Because even in the first game against Kansas City, that's where they had most of their success, was between the tackles.
Right.
I know Jahmyr Gibbs had some good runs to the outside. As a matter of fact, he had a good run to the left side and to the right side, as his two best runs against the Chiefs. But, this game's a little bit different. The only success they really had was at the middle. They shouldn't have stopped that. They should have continued it. But I don't know, man. Like, that's like I said, that's the only good I could come up with was that. Plus, it looks like, as well as additional injuries, right?
Right.
Antoine Green, he was out for a concussion, so he caught the one pass, got a concussion, and then that was it.
Right.
And then James Houston was some sort of ankle injury. It looks like he's going to miss some time. Like this, not only did we lose the game, but we lost players that we were going to be depending on.
Correct. So, on the defensive side, as I'm looking at these stats, it's depressing, right? Because we talked about our defensive front a lot.
Yeah.
And we had one sack today.
And that was because he held on to the ball. That wasn't
because he held on. Yeah. For whatever reason, he just ran backwards and didn't throw away the ball, right?
So that was
and that's
on
the
him,
reason we
not
got that sack.
Yeah, that was not a defensive, whatever. Yeah.
So, in 2 weeks, here's what I've seen from teams that we've played. Now, Pat Mahomes is known about, he's really good at extending plays, but I think on the Seattle side, they were just getting the ball out of Geno Smith's hands quickly, right?
Well, yes.
So he was stepping up into the pocket. He had, what did he have here? So, he had 20 yards rushing, right? But a couple of those was just, they were coverages because they were all man up, and it opened up the middle, and he just took off, right? That's when he got his 15-yarder. Kenneth Walker, while he only had 43 yards, he looked way more effective than 43 yards. I thought he had way more than that, and he didn't.
Well, he was effective when it counted, right?
Yeah.
So, in the second half, looks like the Lions' defense was worn down a little bit, and he was able to, get the first downs when needed. You can look at the 4th and 1 when they went for it, the touchdown runs that he had. He just wore them down.
Yeah. Now, we held them to less than 100 yards rushing. Right? So they had like 90-something yards rushing, which is awesome. So that means our defensive front is not bad. But on the backside of that, we gave up 328 yards passing. So last year, one of our biggest weaknesses was in the secondary, And while we did do some upgrades in the secondary and they've looked better, they seemed out of sorts.
The defensive game plan was trash. And I got to put that in Aaron Glenn. I was going to wait until, later on, but that's fine. I'll get out of my system now because I have to, I guess, at this point. But look, the game plan was trash on defense. You had... How many times did they throw the ball over 10 yards? Right? And then... I don't think they threw the ball over 15 yards one time, as far as the ball in the air. And look at the I know you have to respect the receivers. We talked about it during when we previewed the game. They have quality receivers, but I know you got to respect them. But they by the second half, you knew they weren't going to throw the ball deep. They never attempted it. The whole plan was quick passes, like you were saying. They get in trouble. They're going to look for the safety valve. They threw it in the flat quite often. They tried running a couple screen passes. Everything was short. And everything they did, especially Jerry Jacobs, was giving them like 8 to 10 yards buffer. And all they and then they just went ahead and just did a little, end slant. It drove me nuts. Like whatever they were doing and why they were doing it, I don't get it. And that, look, I understand, like, you get fooled in play action a couple times. I'm not going to, completely destroy you for that.
Perfect.
But
there's
the
going to
coverage
be those plays.
The game plan for the coverage was crap. And I think anybody that was watching the game could have, said, look, we're gonna match up more man-to-man. We're going to play... Let me rephrase that. I apologize. I don't mean man-to-man specifically. We're going to match up more like playing more of a shorter zone, right? That's it. Play short. We're not going to get fooled. We're going to try taking that away from them. That's what's working, right? If I'm getting beat by those little 5-6 yard passes, I'm going to take that away until you beat me some other way. So I hated the game plan on defense. I thought it was junk. I'm not going to be like some of these people and overreacting, saying Aaron Glenn needs to lose his job. But quite frankly, he needs a better defensive game plan next game because that was awful. Yeah.
So looking at this again, I'm just taking this information from the stats for the game, right? DK Metcalf had his longest reception was 18 yards. They didn't even have a 100-yard receiver. But he threw it. He had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. He had 9 receivers, Geno Smith did, that caught a ball. Right?
Yep.
Metcalf had one. His longest was 18. Noah Fant had one for 31. Parkinson had one for 21. Those are, and 16 yards for Disley. Those were their 3 tight ends. Their tight ends were killing us. Right?
They always get killed by tight ends.
They were throwing out there 3 tight end sets all the time, and they were killing us.
But on those passes, they went 30-some odd yards and everything else. How far did the ball go in the air?
Right. No, I just overall link, right? Geno Smith averaged 10 yards of completion. To your, your thought, the filling in what you're talking about was just, he had 32 completions for 328 yards. That's 10 yards of completion.
He threw 78. He completed 78% of his passes.
Right. So he threw 41. Insane. So it was 8 yards average per attempt. But I mean, he only missed on 9 passes. 9.
Right.
And because it was all a lot of underneath stuff.
Well, yeah. So, look, I said it. I just got done saying it, but I don't. There's got to be a change in what they did, and where was the adjustment? That's what I want to know. And quite frankly, I don't want to hear anybody talk about the phantom holding penalty against Hutchinson, because yes, I think we can all agree that was definitely a holding call that was missed. But that's not what lost them the game.
No.
Like, we can go through the game and go step by step exactly what was wrong with it. And I did not like the fourth down and going for it towards the end of the second half, or in the first half, sorry, when they went for it and they missed. I don't like, you could kind of tell that Seattle was moving the ball then, and I did not want to give them a short field. Punt it, get rid of it. You got lucky that the field goal kicker missed 2 field goals, right? Make them go the distance, punt the ball away. That was a bad call. I texted you as soon as it happened. I don't like this. I would have punted it here, but at any rate, it was that to me was the game changer. And then of course the interception happened. That was ran back for a touchdown. So they got 14 points off of turnovers, right?
Right.
So number one for me was that call that Campbell made. Now Campbell is going to be aggressive, and typically I like the aggressiveness. And you're going to live or die by that aggressiveness. So whatever. Like, but I was not feeling it there. But the number one thing was the turnovers. You can't have 3 turnovers and allow the opponents to get 14 points off of it, especially first half turnover, the fumble that resulted in 2 plays later being a touchdown. That was a huge game changer.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So we, had the highs of highs against Kansas City and had some lows, right? Jared Goff, I think other than the interception, he looked good. He only missed on 7 passes today. He had over 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, and a couple of those touchdown passes. I mean, that one to Reynolds was a dime.
It was.
Right?
It was beautiful.
So overall, right, there was a lot of good, but Campbell said it at the end for the post-game press conference. He says, we are not good enough to have turnovers. Right? And there's not very many teams that are good enough to have turnovers in a game and still win. Right? So it's just very frustrating to know that we're better than we have shown. Right? While we might be getting some pressure on the quarterback, we're not sacking the quarterback, right? We may be and the thing is, they know our speed, and teams are changing their game plan. They're game planning for that speed by getting the ball out quickly. So what are we going to do to stop that, right? Because and 2.5 seconds it is hard to get off the ball 2.5 seconds and get to the quarterback, right? 1.75 seconds, right? And they're dropping it off. So we have to have better recognition of what's happening, right? So we've got these guys that they're rushing the pass. They have to be able to recognize, hey, this is a screen. Hey, just so they can get their hands up in the passing lanes and affect the way the ball is getting thrown that way, right? Because that matters.
So it does. I'm just sick of this happening, I guess. I'm sick of the Lions losing. I think we all are. This was a big letdown. Like Lions.
Yeah.
Like I said this not too long ago. I was like, I need to see the Lions play more than just one good half of football before I become a believer. Right? I said that, and then they beat the Chiefs, and then I became a believer, and then they lost. Right? Like
And next week they're playing the Falcons. Who, by the way, Bijan Robinson looks like the real deal,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
Desmond Ritter looks really well. He looks comfortable back there. And they had to come from behind today to win.
Yeah, they scored
Right?
14 unanswered points in the second half. Yeah.
Exactly. So, like, their schedule's not going to get easier because right after that, I think they're playing Green Bay, and Jordan Love looks like he's in total control of the offense, right? So at the end of the game today, he looked a little flustered when he was trying to push the ball down there, and I think he was just trying to. He was forcing the ball into spots, and and it just the connection wasn't there. But up until that point of the game, he doesn't suck. How's that?
You're right. He doesn't suck. He
doesn't suck.
He's a kind of a bargain bin Jared Goff. That's what he reminds me of, right? Where he's gonna believe me, I think Jared Goff's way better than Jordan Love. Don't come at me with that, but the guy's just gonna make safe passes and get completions and not turn the ball over. Yeah. That's what he does.
Right. I mean, he had today 56% completion for 151 yards and 3 touchdowns.
3 touchdowns though. He finished the drives.
Right. And exactly. He finished the drives. Right.
Yeah.
So that is the part that we have to work on. As far as when I say we, the Lions, right? Got to be able to finish those drives. But yeah, so we got Atlanta, then we got Green Bay. I think we have a rather tough schedule.
Mm-hmm.
Because Chicago had their moments today. Justin Fields looked good, and then he looked bad, so he was kind of wishy-washy a little bit in his game.
Mm-hmm.
I still don't know. We'll see what Carolina has because I think they're playing tomorrow for Monday night. Baker Mayfield looks really good down there in Tampa.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I think he's finally got a team around him, and there's a bit of a resurgence with Mike Evans. So if you're a fantasy football guy and you don't have Mike Evans, he might be a waiver wire guy for you. Right? But I'm going down Lamar Jackson with Baltimore, and then we've got Jimmy Garoppolo coming in with Vegas. And while they may be 1-1, they look okay. Like all of these teams are not just pushovers. Carolina might be the only one that I think might be a pushover. And I only say that because I don't know what Bryce Young's going to give us. And I don't know if there's a lot of talent around them right now.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So they're in the first year of a build. But the rest of those teams, and then we got a bye week for the Chargers. And yeah.
Well,
and then it's tough.
Going to be tough, right? It's going to be tough. But I still have confidence in our defensive line. It's the secondary where I lost my confidence in today.
Yep.
Look, the first drive, it's like the defense just wasn't even on the field. They marched down. I don't even know. If we even caused a negative play. I mean, penalty wise, we did, but we didn't even cause a negative play. And it's they marched right down, scored like it was no big deal. We had some sort of high school defense out there. And that just can't happen. That's my biggest problem I have, I guess, with the defense right now. Defensive coordinator specifically, sorry if we phrase that, because I did not see any adjustments. How do you go from going into the half and you're giving up yard after yard after yard after yard after yard, and your defense really is not stopping them. Like, you're just getting lucky they're missing field goals. But that's it.
Absolutely.
Like, you're not stopping them. And then you come out second half and your game plan's the same. Make no adjustment. That's the part that irritates me more than anything else, because again, you're not gonna be perfect. I'm not gonna get mad at Goff because you can't be perfect, right? I'm not gonna really get mad at Montgomery because he fumbled and that hurt, at the first series. Look, the coaches are supposed to be better than that, and you got to hold your coaches to a high standard. If your coaches are not putting your players in a position to win, then your players aren't going to perform well. And that's how I felt it was today, that they were not in position to win on defense, especially in the secondary. That falls on the coach. And then Campbell had a stupid call where he didn't punt. There we go. That's the difference for me. So,
absolutely. So that's kind of our wrap up on the Lions game. It wasn't great.
What more are we going to say?
No, there's nothing else to say, right? It was just disappointing. Like, to have the opportunity to actually win the game. I mean, after they went down 10 points in the fourth quarter, after the pick six, like, they were able to come back and put up 10 points to tie the game before the end of the half, or like the end of the game. Like, those are good things, but you can't just let them come down in overtime and just march down the field on you.
I also didn't like the way they ended the game with playing for the tie as opposed to going for the win. That was way too safe for me. I don't know. I would have tried something different. I'm not saying I would have gone, for a 30-yard bomb trying to get in the end zone or anything like that, right? But I certainly would have tried pushing the ball down the field a little bit more. You had the abilities, you had the timeouts. I'd want to use them.
Yeah. So it is what it is now. So we've seen some good, we've seen some bad, and we have the Falcons next week. So hopefully they watch some tape, because they've got some good tight ends out there in Atlanta. So if we can't stop tight ends, we're going to be struggling.
Kyle Pitts. So
yeah,
but watch out for the preview for that game. We'll have coming out later on this week.
Absolutely.
So, still, we Lions fans, but
yeah,
that was pathetic.
I've lost a little faith.
I've lost more than that.
So, I didn't come out today and say same old Lions. Right? While I wanted to, but I'm trying to remain positive. That's why I wanted to start today's show with some of the good things that we saw.
I get that, but whatever. It's not same old Lions, but I blame the coaching.
Yep, play calling hurt us. Situational play calling.
Yeah. So anyway, let us know what you guys think, and let us know what you think for the Falcons. Do you think Lions are going to rebound? This is really what's going to show us if it is same old Lions. It's how they come back out next week. Of course, they still got them at Ford Field, but are they going to come out and are they going to perform? So we'll have to see.
Yeah.
But appreciate you guys listening, and we'll see you next time.
Absolutely, guys. Have a good day.
Thanks for listening to No Pads Sports Talk. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss a single episode. While you're at it, help spread the word by leaving a rating and review wherever you listen to podcasts. Follow us on social media at No Pads Sports Talk.